Hey guys, so been a while. It's been a month since I've last done one of these videos, but just so you guys know, I'm not gonna do this month-long, stuff anymore because this is gonna succeed. If this is gonna work, then me and my colleagues have got to take all this stuff a lot more seriously than we have. So just so you know, I am making a solemn vow here and now. I am gonna at least make an effort to put more videos out on a consistent basis. With that out of the way, let's get into the review of this little gem of an RPG game. Let's do it. Now, before I get into the review itself, I'm going to give you guys a little story, a little insight into my experience with the Mana series itself. A long time ago, I think it was sometime back in 2003 or 2004, somewhere in there, Final Fantasy 1 and 2 were released as a package called Dawn of Souls, and there was also another game called Tales of Phantasia and another game called Sword of Mana. Now all three of these games were packaged onto the Game Boy Advance, and I had gotten Final Fantasy Dawn of Souls for Christmas during that time, and a buddy of mine had gotten Sword of Mana on his Game Boy Advance, and we both played the living crap out of those games. And there came a point where we would actually meet up at school, and we would actually trade games, and we'd play them, and then we'd go back and forth about them and whatnot. And from what I remember of the Sword of Mana game that came out on the Game Boy Advance, I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was really fun, colorful, enthralling, magical, and just an overall really good RPG experience for, my young brain. But at the time, I didn't know that it was a part of a much larger series that Square had done. And the thing is, I wouldn't know about that for a very, very, very long time until game trailers would come out with this retrospective, not just on the Final Fantasy, numeric series, but also its spin-off games, because I guess the Mana series was kind of a spin-off of the Final Fantasy series itself, but that's a topic for another discussion for another time. And not only was there Sword of Mana, but I guess before that, Secret of Mana was an RPG that came out on the Super Nintendo way back in the 90s. Now, I knew nothing about that until I saw that retrospective. And for the longest time, the Mana name has just remained ingrained in my head, and I just didn't know what to do about it or anything. Well, finally, after all this time, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna take a dive into the Mana series and, we'll see what's what. I played this game recently, and I can honestly say this is probably one of the most fun I've had on RPG in a long time. Now, with all that being said, let us grab our Mana swords, let's invade the Mana Fortress and fight some giant bugs along the way as we look at together and review this wonderful little gem of an RPG. In the game, you start off as a boy named Randy. And due to some mischievous activities you get into with a couple of other boys, you guys are running throughout this forest, and you come across this waterfall. You fall off this log, and by the way, the more I get into the story, I am obligated to say spoiler alert, because there are going to be some things that I reveal about the story that you don't realize until later in the game. But anyway, so through some mischievous activity that the main character Randy, who you play as, that you get into with some boys, you fall into a stream down below. Now, it's not until after you fall into that stream that you realize that some things are out of the ordinary, because there's this ghost of a dead warrior who talks to you, and you find this sword that has been hidden in this area. And after you get the sword, basically you're blamed for a monster attack that happens in your village, even after you kill the monster. And from there, you meet this girl named Prim, and you meet this little boy who basically becomes the mage of your little party. And while, yeah, there was not necessarily any, ancient prophecy or anything like that saying that they were destined to destroy evil and save their world, you find out actually pretty far into the story that the main character is actually a descendant of of a warrior who actually gave his life to save the world a long time ago. I'm not gonna lie, I find this kind of fish out of water tale kind of interesting because a lot of RPGs follow this established story mythos or whatever, how it's like, oh, you have this group of kids and they're destined to do this and this because of this and this thing and that thing or whatever. What I like about this is that the story of the game itself, of what you're destined for and what's happening, is revealed throughout the course of the story itself. And that's not just given to you like immediately or whatever. You go through the game and you figure everything out through the story. I really like that, and I think that's a really good storytelling mechanic as far as everything goes. Now the gameplay in this game I really like a lot because play feels like a combination of an active time battle system along with a battle system from like Kingdom Hearts or something like that, where it's like you hit the button and you attack, 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 attack. But what I like about this is that with the active time battle aspect with this, it's a little bar that fills up to different numbers to varying extents, and those varying numbers basically give you the effectiveness of your main attack. Now, I like that because, in a way, it kind of makes you strategize, makes you think about what you're going to do and how you're going to go about your battle from 1 minute to the next and whatnot. Okay, I love the gameplay and everything like that. I just wish that the menus were a little bit easier to navigate. I mean, it's not like a game-breaking bug or something like that, or it's not something that made me throw my controller at the TV in disgust or something like that. No, 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 no. No, it's just that the menus, maybe it might be easier for you, maybe it won't be. I don't know, your mileage might vary with the menus, but for me at first it was kind of difficult, but the further I got into the game, the more the menus started to open up and make sense to me and whatnot. But I mean, right off the bat, it did take me time to, figure it out, how to work it and everything like that. But I mean, just one jar, in a pleasant jar of ointment isn't enough to put me off. So other than the menus, with the gameplay and everything else, I can honestly say with the gameplay, I had a lot of fun. Battles are engaging. Talking to NPCs is fun, and interacting with environments and everything like that is really fascinating and fun. Now the music. Oh my gosh, the music. Hiroyuki Kikuta composed an absolutely wonderful, wonderful set of songs and compositions for this game. In all honesty, I realize there are probably going to be those of you in the comments section that are probably going to come after me with pitchforks and torches for this. But I would honestly argue that Hiroyuki Kikuta's compositions for this game are honestly as good, if not more compelling than, say, those of like Yoko Shimomura or the Godfather himself, Nobuo Uematsu. This remastered soundtrack is good, but the cool thing is they give you the option to listen to the original one. So you can honestly switch back and forth between the two, soundtracks throughout the game. And that's honestly, I think that's pretty cool. Actually, no, that's really cool to me. And in all honesty, I really don't know of any other RPG that allows you to do that. I mean, chances are there are probably some out there that do, but honestly, I just really like that it gives you that choice and it gives you that option, and just all the songs, all the music is just, oh man. Okay, this guy Hiroyuki Kikuta. Okay, you know how in all the Final Fantasy games when Nobuo Uematsu creates a song or something like that, what he's trying to do is he's not only is he trying to set the tone of what's going on or whatever, he's trying to make you feel something. Hiroyuki Kikuta basically does the same thing, and in all honesty, I could tell that from the moment that I was getting through the intro of the game and I was hearing the first song. Because the first song in and of itself, I mean, if you don't get your audience within like the first like 5 or so minutes of whatever it is you're doing, you're going to lose them. But I can honestly say with the first song that plays at the beginning of Secret of Mana, I'm sorry, I got my names kind of mixed up. But if you listen to the song that plays at the beginning of Secret of Mana, and then you go back and you listen to the soundtrack of the other tunes and whatnot, all the music is just, it's fun, it's imaginative, it takes you to different places, it really does take you on a ride of what this world is, who the characters are, what their motivations are, what they're all trying to do, and how this whole story and this world comes together in just one really good and cohesive package. And I just really like the music, the opening song, and all the other tracks in between. They're all really solid and really well done. Okay, now the sprites that came out on the Super Nintendo version years ago, those cannot be touched. Those should not be touched or manipulated in any sort of way, shape, or form. However, with this remaster, I like how they brought them to life in a style similar to what you would probably see in like a kid's storybook or something like that. Like, in all honesty, there were some moments in the game where it honestly felt like I was playing a kid's book, like from beginning to end, because of not just the coloration of the characters, but the designs, their hairstyles, their clothing, how they like move about and how they attack, how they interact with one another, how they interact with the environment, and everything else in between. One of the biggest things I like about the looks of the game is that to me, it feels like an anime that's basically playing out in front of my eyes, but I'm the one who's taking part in, what the characters do, how the story goes, and things like that. I don't know if any of you would feel that if you played it or have felt that if you played it, but I know that I have and I know that I do. And it's just so colorful, it's so pretty, it's flowing, and I love the looks of not just the remastered sprites, but also the colors that they use to flesh out the trees, the grass, the rocks, the water, the sky, and all the NPCs and everything else in between. I mean, even the designs of the boss characters and their colors and whatnot. I mean, even those are done with a lot of love and care and a lot of attention to detail in exactly how they look, how they move, how they do things and whatnot. I just seriously, the looks of this game are honestly really good. I like them. I think they're really neat. I don't know. It may be an acquired flavor for you. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know one way or another. But if you could let me know what you think about the looks of this game or how you feel the looks of this game are to the original Super Nintendo title, please let me know down in the comments down below. In conclusion, my overall feel of this game is honestly, I'm not like blown away or massively impressed or anything like that. What I'm happy about is the fact that Square took a game that may or may not have been forgotten about by some people, and maybe it got a bunch of love, maybe it didn't. I don't know. I don't know how well Secret of Mana did on the Super Nintendo. But the one thing that I know, this remaster is super solid. It's a lot of fun. It is a really, really solid action adventure romp all throughout. I know for a fact I had nothing short of a fun time with it. And you know what? I honestly believe that you will too. Everything from its characters to the story to the music to the battles and the twists, the turns, the pitfalls, everything about it just comes together in a really, really good RPG game package. And I highly recommend this game not only to people who are fans of RPGs, but also people who are wanting to get into the RPG, thing on their game system, but they don't really know how to go about it or whatever. Please, play this game, educate yourself on it, form your opinion on it, and just, I mean, if you do have a fun time, great, but if you don't, whatever, at least say, I tried it. All that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and let me know what you thought about this review down in the comments below. All right, have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye!